Okay, so in this week's guitar lesson, we're going to talk about how you connect double stop harmonies to basic chord shapes to make them more accessible so that you can play them easily when you can visualize kind of where they are on the fretboard. By the way, a double stop harmony is just two notes at once that harmonize and they sound really pretty together. That kind of thing. I always wondered how that was done when I was learning how to improvise, and I realized, oh, there's a formula for it. And once you can do that and see it, it makes it a lot easier. It makes it very easy, in fact. So I've got a composition that I wrote to kind of pull all of these ideas together so that you have something fun to practice, and it gives you sort of a goal to work towards. Here's what that sounds like. So in this video, we're going to go through the first half of that. If you'd like to watch the second half and download the tab for the entire composition, and also get the on-screen tab viewer, which has the tab and the video on the screen at the same time, you can slow down the playback, you can loop sections, you have all of those extra options and features. You can get those things by going to activemelody.com and doing a search for EP606. Okay, so this song is played, that we're going to be working towards, is just a simple little composition played in the key of D, and it's the first part of this is just playing over two chords. Even though I didn't strum a chord, this is sort of the structure of the song. It's a D chord, then it goes to the 5 chord, A7. Stay on the A7, and then back to the D. Really simple. I mean, I wanted to keep this super basic. And so here's the first thing we're going to look at, is we're going to look at the D chord up here using the A shape. And that's where I've got one finger on the 5th fret and then one up here on the 7th fret. And if I look at the top part of that A shape, it's this triad, which is super common, very common triad. I'm sure you've played this at some point. But if we look at the top 2 strings of that, that's going to be our starting point. That's the starting point of this harmony. Now, this harmony that we're going to be learning is the D major scale. That's all it is. But when you're playing it, you're not just playing one string, you're playing 2 strings at the same time. And those 2 strings are offset by either 3 steps, which would be like a harmonized third. There's 3 intervals in between the 2 notes, or there's 6 steps. And that would be a harmonized 6. Those are the sort of the most common ones. A harmonized third, harmonized 6. Harmonized 6 sounds like that. It's got a little more space in between the notes versus a harmonized third. You can hear there's less space in between those 2 notes. But that's really all you need to know about that. I mean, that's kind of what we're going to be looking at, are those harmonized thirds, harmonized 6. Most of this will be harmonized thirds. And so, off of this A shape, my D chord using the A shape, that's going to be the top part of our little harmony thing. So we're going to take that, we're going to move it down 2 frets, you just have to memorize this part. And then we're going to come back into the shape and play the bottom part of that triad, strings 2 and 3. So we have, and if you think about that, that's sort of like 3 blind mice. Right? It's like a harmonized version of 3 blind mice. That shows up in themes a lot in these lessons for some reason. But that may not seem like much, but even with just that, you've already got the formula for being able to do some really cool stuff. If I were to switch keys, for example, and play something in the key of C, I'm using the A shape, just like we did here, just to demonstrate this. Look at this. Now I just did some chromatic stuff, right? You can also slide into the notes. You can mix that now with your pentatonic. So if I played like the C major pentatonic, you can start to hear these harmonies and start to get ideas just off that basic three blind mice thing. So this is the way that I like to learn. I like to take what seems like a complicated thing, but just break it down into something super granular, and then work with that granular thing for a while until I start to get it, start to feel it, and then I'll sort of layer on. And that's how I'm trying to structure this lesson. Let's go back to the key of D now. And just remember, these two notes that we're playing are two notes from your D major scale. If we kept going up, you can hear the major scale in there. Same with the other string. But that's not how people actually use them. They just sort of memorize the shapes. That's the truth. And so you've got that down to here. Now let's keep going. We have a different shape now where we've got my middle finger on the 6th fret, 3rd string, and my index finger is on the 5th fret, 2nd string. So we have that. We're going to take that down 2 frets. And then we're going to come down to strings 3 and 4. We're also going to offset that where I've got my middle finger on that 6th fret 3rd string. Again, now I've got my ring finger on the 7th fret 4th string. So that's really all we're going to look at from the D major scale in this position. We'll keep going in another spot. But look at this. If you can marry that to this so that you can easily get at it in any key, you've already got a pretty awesome little formula for playing harmonized thirds. Now, one other little idea here is instead of playing this, another place that I could play these two notes would be down here. So that would be just barring, on the 2nd fret, strings 2 and 3. So I'm only showing you that because that's going to come up again in a minute. So you've got something like this. Right? Or down here. You've got two options for that. You've got multiple options for all of these things, but I'm just trying to keep this super simple for now. All right, so when I play this, I started by just strumming the D chord, and then I went right into the top part of this harmony like this. Okay, so let's look at what's going on there. This harmony is the one we just looked at. It's just walking down. Now let me show you the sort of the timing part of this. I did 3 of these. I went 1, 2, 3, and then hit the D note, the open D note, the open 4th string. And I did that to sort of, since we're playing this as a standalone composition, just to establish sort of the bass notes, so that you can hear that and hear the harmony off of that bass note. I'll do that again when we get to the A chord. I'll hit the open 5th string. But we have 1, 2, 3, and then the D note, and then watch this. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this is just 1, 1, 1. So it starts with 3, and then it goes to 2, and then it goes to 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. And I'm only mentioning that because it'll just sort of help with those of you that struggle with timing. Just sort of count that out. I mean, you don't have to be super robotic with it. You want to kind of feel this stuff, but that's what will make the timing work out to get to your 5 chord. So let's listen to that. All right, so now the song would go to the A chord, or the A7 chord, which is our 5 chord. The last thing that I played was this harmony right here. So I went. Now watch this. I switched to the A7. You could hear it. So first thing that I'll point out is 5th fret 4th string with my index finger, and then I'm on the 6th fret 3rd string. Those two strings, and then I hit the A note. Now what are these two notes? Well, these would be two notes from my, if I think of my A chord, just using the E shape, and I lift my pinky, and I play strings 4 and 3, I'm hitting that flat 7, so that would be in my A dominant 7 chord, and then the third interval. So really it's just those two notes. It's the flat 7 and the third, which are very stable notes, by the way. You don't even need the root note when you're playing those two because they're so stable. But I hit that, and then I did hit the root note on the 5th string, which is my A note. So that just really established the A7 sound, which is the dominant 7. Now, is that a harmony? Yeah, you could argue it is, but I wasn't thinking that way for this. I was thinking about chords. And actually, just last week, I think, yeah, it was last week, I showed you how to play this. This is like the D shape in first position. If you play it here, you can play an A7. And so that's like strings 4 and 3 out of that, just as another reference here. So once I hit that A note on the 5th string, I played this. Isn't that a cool sound? I just went ahead and played the rest of the chord. So I just strummed up strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. That's those two notes, and then the open B string and the open E string. I just love the chiminess of that. I just thought that was a cool voicing. And then I came down here to the 2nd fret and played strings 3 and 4 and played, it's really an A sus2 chord. So it'd be like your A chord minus the 2nd string. So again, that's just an idea. These are just sort of chord voicing ideas that I've played through the years, but I want to share this stuff with you so you get, I mean, some of you will walk away with just that. It's like, oh yeah, it's a cool way to do an A. Like maybe I'll make a song out of that. Or this. Right? You put those two together and you've got ideas, you know, that's what this is all about. So now that we've established in terms of the structure of the song that we're playing over the 5 chord, which is our A chord, I'm going to stay on that A chord and then bring us back to the 1 chord, which is the D. And so here's what I did. This is kind of cool. So we played that, and then I went. To get back to the D chord. Now what the heck was all that, right? So we're playing over the 5 chord, which is our A. Now this is where some of you are going, okay, I got the harmony for D. We played the D major scale for the D stuff, but now we're playing over what would be an A. And when I play this, I was playing the same D major harmony. And this will be a light bulb for some of you when you realize that the major scale that you play over the 1 chord works perfectly over the 5 chord because it's the Mixolydian version of the 5 chord. So if I play the D major scale over an A7 chord, I have A Mixolydian. And you don't have to get caught up in that if that's confusing, but just know that you can keep playing the D major scale for all of this. As long as the chords that you're playing over are in the key of D, so they're part of the circle of fifths or the chord family for the key of D. You could throw in a G chord, you could throw in a B minor chord, which actually I do in the part 2 video. As long as you stay in the chord family, you can keep playing that D major harmony scale. So that makes that so much easier. You don't have to think about, oh, now I got to do something for A. No, just stay in the key of the song. So after I played that A sus2, I came up here and went. This is all that same harmony that we've already looked at. And then I did this. So I came down and I showed you this before. Remember, I showed you that these two notes are the same as here. So that's why I wanted to show you that ahead of time so that when I show you this, you've already got it, right? And all I did was I barred the first 3 strings here on the 2nd fret, playing strings 2 and 3, and I did a hammer-on to the other step in the harmony there. So I did a hammer-on with my middle finger going to the 3rd fret, 2nd string, ring finger to the 4th fret, 3rd string, and then back to that note. So it's like. And then watch this. That's a slide with my ring finger on the 4th string, 4th fret, quick slide down to the 2nd fret, and then just open 4th string, which is my D note. Now we're back to the 1 chord. and I can strum the chord. Okay, so now the song is going to stay on the D chord, and to mix it up, to get away from these little harmonized thirds, we're going to play some harmonized sixes now, and it sounds like this. And so all of that was really played over the D chord, and I was just visualizing this. A D chord here, actually it was a D chord using the C shape, I was visualizing the D chord using the A shape, and then I was visualizing the D chord using the E shape. And I was only playing on strings 2 and 4. And because I can visualize those shapes, so like here's my C shape, I can see strings 2 and 4 out of that shape. Here's my A shape, I can see that harmony. It's in there, it's in the chord already. And then I can see my E shape, so can you see what's going on there? Listen to that. Right, you're hearing it's the harmonized scale. It's the D major scale, but it's harmonized. But I wasn't thinking about the scale. I was thinking about the chords. I was visualizing the chords, so I could, and I can embellish around them a little bit. Once I can see them, I can play below them. I can play above them. I can play chromatically to connect them. But that's the magic of it. Is just you have these visual anchors along the way. It makes the whole thing so much easier. So when I started that, I had my middle finger on the 4th fret, 4th string, index finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. And these are 2 notes out of this, right? There's my D chord using the C shape, just strings 2 and 4. And played it with those 2 fingers. And then when I came up to here, I walked from the 5th to the 6th to the 7th fret, using those same 2 strings. And I was picturing this. So let this be another light bulb for you. Oh yeah, here's my D chord using the A shape. I've got this little walk that I can do between those 2 frets, rather. Back to here. Look at that. You can slide in between them just like you're playing a single string. I hope you're getting excited about this. Here's the harmonized third. Look at this, I'm making music just using this idea. Okay, so then the next thing was up here. And that's just strings 2 and 4. That's all I'm doing there. And there's an embellishment, as I can put my pinky down on the 12th fret 2nd string. Like that. I can come up here and hit the flat 7. I'm giving you all kinds of ideas. And then back down here. Look at that, isn't that a cool little slide? But it came back to this D chord using the A shape. Chromatic slide down to here, and then back to where we started. So after that, I came to the A chord, and all I did was I played my A chord in first position. And since we were doing the harmonies on strings 2 and 4, I just stayed on strings 2 and 4 out of that, and then hit the A note down here and strummed the chord. Now then I just sort of did a little walk from the A major chord to the A7. And all you have to do for that is just keep that bar on the 2nd fret. You put your pinky up here on the 5th fret 1st string to hit this A note. And then you can lift that and put it down now on the 3rd fret for an A7. Now some of you may not have even known about this voicing. It took me a while to figure this one out, but I heard that in the blues a lot. This little walk down from the root, you go down and 2 frets to get to the flat 7. And so if you're doing finger style guitar, that's an idea. You can slide into it. Anyway, lots of ideas here, but I just want to share them. Okay. So then this final lick after the A7, I came up here and went. So all of that was the D major scale. It's the same thing that we started with, but the only difference is I kept going up on strings 1 and 2. Let me show you this little formula here. So from our starting point, right? D chord using the A shape. From here, we're gonna go up where my ring finger goes up to the 8th fret 2nd string, and then my middle finger is on the 7th fret 1st string. So we'll call this short, all right, just to make this easy. That's short, that's long. See the difference? There's just more space in between this one. So that's like a longer gap. That's a short one. So short, long. So from here we have long, short, go up again, 2 frets, keeping it short, and then we'll go back to long. And then we'll go up to long, and then we'll go to short. This would be like the top. There's my D note. So let's walk it all the way down. From here we have short, long, long, short, short, long, long, short. That's the entire D major scale on strings 1 and 2, from all the way up here down to here, a full octave. And you're just gonna have to kind of memorize that long, short formula. Short, long, long, short, short, long, long, short. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because this next part in the song, where we're playing over the A, was using that run of the major scale. I started here, where I've got my middle finger on the 9th fret 1st string, and then my ring finger on the 10th fret 2nd string. Hit the A note, that open 5th string, just to establish the bass note. Bring that down 2 frets. Down to our starting point, and then you're going to slide that all the way up here, so you got your ring finger on the 12th fret 2nd string, and then you're going to walk it all the way down from here down to your D, and that's where I strummed and sort of ended it. So all together it goes. These harmonized thirds are prominent in songs like Brown Eyed Girl, for example. That's one that pops in my head. But lots of songs. I mean, you've heard them all the time. That's where we're going to end this part 1 video. Come join us for part 2, where we go over the second half. We got a lot of other cool stuff, cool ideas in the part 2 video. If you haven't looked into active melody, I encourage you to do it. I put out lessons like this every week. Been doing it for 14 years now, have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of in-depth lessons, and they're all designed to help you improvise. And if you've liked this lesson, leave me a comment. I always appreciate it, even if it's just like, hey, this was awesome, or I learned something, or share what you've learned. That's a big help when you do that. It helps me know what's connecting, and I think it helps other people too, to sort of see, like, oh yeah, like this person picked up on this one idea, I should pay more attention to that. We can kind of help each other learn that way. All right, I'll see you in the part 2 video.